Hey Think Tank, it's Eric here, one half of Think Tank. I'm here at the San Francisco airport. Just got finished with a wholesaling conference, and for those who don't know, wholesaling is a style of real estate investing. And what it is really is, think about a pawn shop. When people don't want something, they need money, they go to the pawn shop, and the pawn shop gives them pennies on the dollar for whatever it is they're selling, and someone else comes in, someone's junk is someone else's gold, right? And they pick it up and the pawn shop makes a profit. That's what I do. So that's what I'm trying to do, my wife and I. So wholesaling is a way to build capital by buying properties with highly discounted and selling them back to a cash buyer and making a profit, being the middleman facilitating the transaction. So we went to a conference to learn more tactics, techniques to get better. And so that's what wholesaling is. But the reason why I'm on here is to talk about why it makes sense for those of us with banking policies, why it actually works out even better for us. Here's the deal. Wholesaling involves a lot of marketing. Marketing is so key in wholesaling to the extent that if you don't market, you aren't getting leads. You aren't getting potential properties coming through the door. And so the amount of marketing that it takes, if you want to scale, anywhere from 1,000 to upwards of 15,000 a month. We're talking direct mail. We're talking skip tracing, which is a form of finding numbers based upon addresses of vacant properties. All these things take money, and if you want to work with virtual assistants, it takes money again. So my point in telling you this is that most people, especially when they're getting started, are floating all those costs on a credit card. But those of us with banking policies, we have an opportunity here, because now all of a sudden we have a source of funding that most people aren't privy to. Most people just don't know about, and that is our banking policy. And obviously, as we've heard time and time again, the banking policy allows us to borrow from as a source of funding, to continue making money on that money, use that money for productive means, i.e. marketing, and when we do close that deal, when we do make that influx of income, pay that policy loan back. And so what I like to do now is just kind of walk through a transaction. You know, some of the costs of marketing might, again, virtual assistants, about $500 a month typically. Direct mail, maybe $1,000 a month. You want to have a good attorney, a good title company on your side. All that stuff costs money. And again, instead of putting it on credit cards, why not take a policy loan for the cost, say for 3 months, and then once you get a deal, take the proceeds, pay off the policy loan, take the profits, and put it into your next marketing campaign. So that's just a little something, that's a little tidbit that as I was going through the seminar, going through the conference, I realized that most people are stuck with one solution, one alternative, and that is credit cards. Or if they have the cash, using cash. But both ways pale in comparison to having your own banking source. So what I'm going to do now is just go through some really quick numbers, and which will be no surprise to any of you if you've been tracking us. Why and how it works out that the banking policy vastly outweighs and outperforms banks and credit cards. To your prosperity. Thank you. All right. As I said, these are the wholesaling costs that are associated when you're getting up and running. You want to try to have a virtual assistant, direct mail campaign, and this is on the low end, $1,000 a month, and then miscellaneous. You're going to want to have a database tracking system, a web presence, a separate phone line. All these are ways you're setting yourself up for success, and these are some just minimal costs to get started. And obviously, if you want to scale up, get the machine really cranking, you get your deals in, plow right back into your costs, and just try to scale, obviously. So at $2,000 a month, if we're looking at comparing, we look at the credit card first. I made some assumptions here. Your credit card is getting charged 12% for the year, APR. So $2,000 a month, you float
let's assume you have a deal every 3 months. And so you're taking that money from the deal and you're paying off the credit card. So you're essentially floating the cost for 2 months. You're paying the minimums. So 12%, that equates to 1% per month. That's $320 that you're paying in interest for the year. Not to mention credit cards, obviously, you have fees and penalties, late penalties, and the credit card company lets you know that they're in control if you have a misstep. And then finally, credit card company can lower your borrowing amount with little notice. This has happened to me before. During the crisis in 2008, 2009, without notice, my credit cards, the limits were lowered quite a bit. And so outside external factors can absolutely affect your ability to have access to those funds. Okay, so I'll leave that right there. Looking at the banking policy, with the banking policy, you have a 5% interest that you're charged for the year, and if you're looking at 2 months, that's a 0.41 interest per month, right? So if you decide to pay that money off after the first 2 months, again, a deal every 3 months, so 4 deals a quarter. Again, just starting out, you're paying $64 in interest towards your policy loan. And of course, policy loans don't have fees or penalties. And your borrowing amount can never be lowered because you have a guaranteed line of credit, and it is backed by the cash value in your policy. In this case, we're going to assume you have $10,000 of cash value in the policy. And of course, one of the biggest benefits of a banking policy is the fact that that $10,000 continues to grow over the course of the year, which equates to 500 additional funds that you didn't have before. So 10,500. That's while you're still out there putting that money into your marketing efforts for wholesaling and bringing back a profit and repaying those policy loans. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions, let me or Brian know.